If they make, 10, 15, 20 years from now, if they make the Fleetwood Mac story movie, who would you like to play you?
I don't have any idea. I honestly don't have any idea. And it would be a movie to remember. I'm telling you. I mean, there's not a book on the stands that comes close to the last 10 years of my life.
Would you pass up Friday the 13th, Part 11 for Fleetwood Mac, The Steam Behind the Smoke? Of course you would. We'll hear why that movie wouldn't win a G rating right after this. Off the Record. We're back with Stevie, Christine, Mick, John, and Lindsay. Fleetwood Mac, Off the Record. Tell me, now that the press is starting to be another rash of press about you and all the individual members, and surely you've grown used to it over the years, the characterizations of every member. You yourself have referred to yourself as, I think they're coming to get both of us now, as the airy-fairy one. And Christine is the solid one. Yeah. Is that troublesome, or do you just...
I'm a very serious person, and what I do is very serious to me. So I don't ever. The airy-fairy thing is true to the point of I do love, castle-like structures and old cars and handsome guys in old Edwardian clothes, and I have a love of that whole image, and always have. And I just sort of never changed from when I was a little girl, and it helps me with my work. It's really hard to be Betty Anderson and write rock and roll songs. It's kind of hard. So for me, environment and clothes and boots and all that stuff is very important to what I do when I sit down at the typewriter or the piano. If I'm doing a serious lead vocal in the studio and I'm in my tennis shoes, I will probably send home for my platform boots for the vocal. So when I really get ready to do it, I'll put on my boots.
In the prime years of Fleetwood Mac, when, the Rumours was sort of in its 50th month or whatever it was in the top 10, I don't, when it was really had been number one for a long time. And anywhere we went, when we went out, we get hounded. I mean, which is the ultimate compliment, really, and I think that today, before this Tango album was out, we still get recognised if we go out to restaurants, and when we hadn't really been in the public eye that much. And, you always, I always feel kind of thankful, in a sense, because, if there was no one there asking for autographs or no one saying, hi, Christine, why don't you do another Fleetwood Mac album? It would be a little kind of disconcerting.
It's better to be looked over than overlooked.
Well, exactly.
I'd be hard-pushed to find things that we haven't already hadn't ordered. It's a pretty broad spectrum of emotional traumas this band's covered.
We aired our dirty laundry in public. And,
to the point of saturation.
And everyone's come through that. You can't control these things. I buy those papers, and I buy those worse papers than that. And I sit on the lavatory and read them. So other people must too.
Look at the Rumours time. Stevie and I were a couple. John McVie and Christine were married. We were both in the process of breaking up right at the beginning of that album, and had to put all those feelings and frustrations and hurts over in one corner of the room and still see each other every day and do something else on some other level in the other corner of the room, so to speak. And that took a lot of fortitude. It took a lot of attitude checks. We're no strangers to having to keep our perspective on things, because there's 5 very strong individuals, and so now I think I can talk about that a little bit and put it down in song and deal with a broader range of emotions than some of the ones that I have employed on songs, sarcasm and anger and some other things. So it's coming into a good time. It really is.
Fleetwood Mac, happy and healthy and ready to tango? It sounds like it. In a minute, Mick Fleetwood and John McVie explain why they never have any trouble dancing in the recording studio. Off the Record.
With the morning you sure look fine.
Fleetwood Mac is notorious for taking their time producing records. 3 years between Rumors and Tusk, another 3 between Tusk and Mirage, and then a big 5 years separates Mirage and Tango. It may seem like an eternity to us, but Mick Fleetwood says they never feel like they've been away from each other for years.
To me, it's more like just 3 weeks off. It's the same analogy. People always do ask, my God, 5 years, and a lot of people think that you don't literally see each other or don't want to see each other, which is nonsense. But on the other hand, I don't see my mother every other day either, and for me, it's just like kicking straight back in whenever the band plays, and more especially when me and John play. It may as well have been yesterday, to be quite honest. And it's nice to know that that's always there, and I think we quietly sometimes maybe sort of not forget about it, but you're not aware of it until you pick up the instruments and start playing, and you go, here we go again.
Wait a minute, baby. Stay with me a while.
It's funny, one of the things I keep reading in reviews now is how great the Tusk album is. When you think about some of the bad press it got when it first came out, it's nice to see that it's finally...
Tusk album is a great album, not only musically, but I think it's the most important album Fleetwood Mac ever did, because of the nature of what that album implied. It implied like a huge signpost as to what, if we hadn't have done that, I think the band might have broken up. It was never talked about, but I think it could have meant that, where Fleetwood Mac, and especially Lindsay, was feeling, can I do this, that, and the other within the framework of Fleetwood Mac? And it was the thing where it happened, and Lindsay did stuff on his own, and he thought, I remember sitting on a lawn with him, and he said, well, can I take stuff home? Which he did. He did several tracks, basically, all on his own at home. And he thought, my God, well, what if I play a bass part? Or what if I play a drum part? What are you and John going to say? And I personally said, I don't know how John feels about it, but I said, well, it's nothing that hasn't been done before. Those sort of things should be, allowed. Otherwise you're getting so protective of what,
What do you get from Fleetwood Mac that you don't get from playing with other people or your own solo career?
Well, it would take an awful long time to build up the kind of club membership that has been built in Fleetwood Mac. It's 1974. So that's you can't really... I could start a band tomorrow and say, okay, you're not backup musicians. You're going to be 1/5 of this band. Going to get paid just what I get. We're going to write. We're going to do this thing. We're going to be together all the time. You're going to be on call to this band every single day of your life. Very few people would go for that. And that's what Fleetwood Mac is. When the machine of Fleetwood Mac starts working, that's what it is.
And that Fleetwood Mac machine is on a roll once again. We'll hear what the chances are that it will steam into your town on a concert tour right after this. Off the Record. Fleetwood Mac's Lindsey Buckingham and Christine McVie. Off the Record. What personally motivates you to keep? You have a lovely house. You've got a great life. You could, go off to Monte Carlo or sail around the world or anything you want, practically.
Well, because I love music. Primarily I love music, and I love to sing, and I love to sing my own songs. I also love singing other people's songs, but I do like the sensation of writing something that I love and singing it.
Do you still love it as much as you did when you first started?
Really? Yes, I do. In fact, I love singing more now than I ever did, because I think that my voice is better than it ever was. So that when you open your mouth and something sweet falls out instead of something a bit shaky, it's very, very gratifying.
Do you think your voice got better simply through exercise of the instrument, or
probably? I don't know. I think it's obviously exercise and practice, knowledge, understanding of your limitations.
Fleetwood Mac, Off the Record with Mary Turner, has been brought to you by Budweiser, the king of beers.